In this video, we are going to review the distributive property and combining like terms so that we can use it to simplify algebraic expressions. Now, our distributive property allows us to get rid of the parentheses by bringing multiplication from outside of the parentheses, where we have a sum or a difference, to inside. So here's how we typically write it algebraically. A times the sum, b plus c, is equal to a times b, so we distribute the a to the b, plus a times c, distribute the a to the c. These others are just different variations using subtraction and using a different order, putting the a on the other side. Let's look at this example. We are distributing a negative 2x inside of this parentheses where I have a trinomial, 3 terms. So first I'm going to do negative 2x times 3x squared, negative 2x times negative 7x, and negative 2x times 1. Doing our multiplication, remember you're going to multiply your coefficients. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And you're going to add your exponents. Remember the exponent here is a 1, so 1 plus 2 is 3. For my second term, negative 2 times a negative 7 is a positive 14. X times x, exponents of 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And then negative 2x times 1 is just negative 2x. Most of the time we don't write this step. Write it if it helps you. Skip it if you don't need it. This is our answer here, and it is sufficient work for us. Now, like terms, recall, are just monomials with the same variable raised to the same power. So as I look here, the 2x cubed and the negative 4x cubed, those are like terms because they both have an x to the third, x to the third. X squared and 5x squared are like terms. The negative x doesn't have anything like it, and the negative 7 doesn't have anything like it. That one's a constant. If I were to go ahead and combine these, all I do is add or subtract the coefficients, do what it tells me to do, and I keep the variable and the exponent the same. So here we go. 2x cubed minus 4x cubed. 2 minus 4 is a negative 2, and it's going to stay x cubed. 1x squared plus 5x squared is a positive 6x squared. I didn't quite leave myself enough room, so I'm going to come down below. And then just minus x, since there's nothing like it, minus 7. That's how I would combine those. Okay, let's take a look at our 4 square. So we're going to start with our number 1 and 2. In number 1, I'm distributing. Now, how do I know I'm distributing? The big parentheses with the number outside. And there's no sign in between. That x is right next to the parentheses. So that's how I know to distribute. I've got a monomial right outside of my parentheses. So I'm distributing my negative 2x. So I'm going to do negative 2x times 3x squared plus negative 2x times 2x plus negative 2x times 4, negative 4. And then I do my multiplication. So that's my distributing step. Now I'm going to actually do my multiplication. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And it's going to be x to the third. 1 plus 2 is 3. Here, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So I could put plus a negative 4. But it's better to just put minus 4. X to the first. So adding my exponents, x squared. And then here, negative 2 times negative 4 is a positive 8. And just x. So that's my final answer there. If you want to skip this middle step here, that's fine. You don't have to show me what you're multiplying as long as you're always getting that answer correct, as long as you're always doing that multiplication correctly. If you're making mistakes, then show that step. All right, and number 2. We do not have anything to distribute. And I know I don't have anything to distribute because I do not have parentheses. That's the key. So I'm going to start by talking about where my like terms are. So my 12x squared and my negative x squared, those both have an x squared. So those are like terms. My negative 3x and negative 7x are like terms. And then my 5 and my 10 are both constants. So they are like terms. So now I'm just going to combine. So 12 minus 1 is 11. It stays x squared. So when I'm adding and subtracting with my variables, my exponents do not change. It's when I'm multiplying that they do. Negative 3x and negative 7x, both negative, so I add and keep the sign. And then 5 plus 10 is 15. So just combine my like terms. Be careful with your positives and negatives there. Okay, let's look at 3 and 4. Notice in 3 and 4, I'm not just distributing or just combining like terms. I have distributing to do, and I know that because of the parentheses. But I'm also going to have to combine some like terms, most likely. Okay? So the first thing I want to point out on number 3, I am not distributing 4n. If I wanted to distribute 4n, it would look like this. See how I have this big old subtraction sign in the middle here? I'm subtracting. So what I need to do is first remember that really what I'm doing is distributing a negative 1. So first I'm going to distribute my negative 1 inside my parentheses. When I do that, the 4n just stays there until I'm done. So negative 1 times 7 is negative 7. Negative 1 times negative 6n is a positive 6n. So distributing a negative just changes your signs. Then I've got these like terms. Those both have an n. 4 plus 6 is 10. The n stays an n. Minus 7. So I need to distribute and then combine my like terms. Our final problem for today, for this video, number 4. Hopefully you're looking at number 4 and you're seeing 2 sets of parentheses here. So I've got a set of parentheses here and here. That means I need to distribute twice. And again, I know that because these numbers are right up next to the parentheses. The 11 is right up next to the parentheses. The negative 2 is right up next to the parentheses. There's no operation sign between them like there was on number 3, where the subtraction sign was in between. So here we go. I'm going to start by distributing my 11 only to the parentheses that follow. So 11 times 8 is 88r plus 11 times 3 is 33. Notice I'm not writing out that step where I show you what I multiply. Here, don't forget you're distributing a negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 9 is a positive 18. Negative 2 times 6r is a negative 12r. And then our final step, combining our like terms. So we have 88r and negative 12r. Those are like terms. 33 and 18 are like terms. They're both constants. So 88 minus 12 is going to give me 76. No, it's 76r. And then 33 plus 18, both positive there, so I'm going to add them and get 51. And that's my answer there. So again, I needed to distribute. Once I distribute, that's when I combine like terms. Now what you are going to do is work on the remainder of the 4 square. So you're going to continue to work on 5 through 8. On each of these, you've got multiple steps. So you're going to need to show me where you distribute, which is going to be your first step on each one of them, and then show me where you combine your like terms. So you have multiple steps on each of these.